Hi there. I want to welcome you today to today's lecture on improving your sales intentionally for solopreneurs and micro business owners in a slow economy. Today's lecture will be focusing on the S.A.L.E.S plus path system. It's a framework I designed to help solopreneurs and micro business owners in a slow economy design and improve their sales intentionally. I want to welcome you and I want to say thank you for joining us today. All right, so essentially, this lecture is focused on solopreneurs and micro business owners operating within the Nigerian context. Definitely, sales advice is everywhere. You're not, I don't believe that you're new to how to sell, but the challenge might be how do you sell in an environment or in an economy where things are slow, business is slow. Essentially, currently within the Nigerian system, the cost of living has increased drastically, fuel prices have risen, and that has influenced purchasing power because now the amount of money people have left to buy or to pay for non essential things has drastically reduced. Impulse buying has dropped significantly. People are thinking twice before spending on anything that is not an immediate need. All right. And competition has increased at lower price points because more people have entered the market with cheaper alternatives simply because the economy is dragging and everybody needs to survive. Right. And that has affected many businesses, including your business as a solopreneur, as a micro business owner. Sales are slowing despite effort. The market reality has changed. And the truth is that hold strategies no longer work. And so here's what you should know is that you're not in a conversion problem. You are in an economy where demand is compressing. You're not in a conversion problem. You are in a demand compression environment. Essentially, that speaks to the fact that the demand side of what you're selling has been affected by people's purchasing power. All right. So, how do you navigate that if find yourself in that space where sales are really slow? You need to keep running your business. So I'm going to be introducing to you two tools or two frameworks I created. One is the S.A.L.E.S, the sales framework. The other one is the P.A.T.H framework, path. And I'll explain to you what it means and how to navigate that in the slides that follow. And of course, I would also show you how to identify one constraint that might be influencing your sales in terms of how do you improve your sales in the current slow economy. The first thing, remember I spoke to you about the sales framework. The S there speaks to situation. It speaks to situation. And here, as the business owner, you have to try to understand where your business sits within the current economic climate. Right? Most people skip this step and assume that slow sales is personal or either a reflection of their effort or their skill. Of course, while sometimes that is true, in Nigeria right now, slow sales is very often environmental. The market has changed, and no amount of personal effort can override a structural shift in how and when people spend money. So, in trying to understand the situation, all right, this helps you understand where your business sits within the current economic climate. You cannot build the right strategy without first understanding the environment you are operating in. All right. So, a couple of questions you might want to ask yourself, maybe a checklist you can use is customers are asking for lower price or saying things are expensive. What are your customers saying? Are the people buying less frequently than they used to? What's your experience? What I sell is not something people need to buy every week. I depend heavily on the same repeat buyers, not a growing pool of new ones. All right, you're trying to decipher or discern the situation that your business currently is in. Buyers are showing interest but taking longer to commit. I mostly sell to the same WhatsApp or Instagram audience repeatedly. Impulse buying has reduced compared to 1 to 2 years ago. So having used the checklist, if you ticked 4 more, you are operating in a compressed demand market. And of course, this is not personal failure, it's a market condition. The implication is important for you. You cannot solve this with more effort alone. You will need a structural response. And of course, going through this checklist helps you to classify your product. Is your product an essential product? Is it a semi-essential product? Is it a non-essential product? Essential product will speak to products that are being used daily or weekly, like food, soap, airtime, baby supplies, and things like that. Semi-essential product will speak to products that have occasional demand, like clothes, like shoes, fashion items, and things like that. And non-essential product will speak to aspirational or impulse, sort of like luxury, home decor, event items. So you have to identify where your business sits within that space. The next part of that framework after S is A, your audience. Don't forget, we're trying to diagnose fundamentally, first of all, what essentially is the cause of the slow sales. Now, it's easy to simply say that the economy is shrinking and there's really nothing you can do about it, but there's always something we can do about it. So, the framework helps us with diagnostics. Here is audience, identify who is still buying. If you're going to have to improve your sales, you have to know the current situation of your business. You have to know your audience. You have to identify who is still buying. Of course, in a healthy economy, your audience is broad. But in a compressed economy like we are currently in, where demand is slow, demand is compressing, your real audience narrows to a specific group. That is, people who have a strong enough reason to buy right now. All right. People who have a strong reason to buy right now. And so, in this part of the framework, what you're trying to do is to identify who your real buyers are, what drives them, and how often they naturally buy. All right. So, understanding this helps you shift your energy from broadcasting to a cold audience towards speaking directly to the people already predisposed to buy. Okay. Now, what you need to identify in looking at your audience also is identify the buying triggers. What situation causes someone to buy from you? Is it events? Is it cycle related, like for children who have to buy back to school items? Is it during school fees? All right. Is it because of convenience? Maybe they know and they trust you, or you are within reach. Is it tied to salary cycles? Is it necessity replacement? In other words, an item has worn out and they just want to buy because um, either they've outgrown it or it's bad, something like that. So you need to identify the buying triggers. Then determine your sales frequency. Is your business cycle based, like items like clothing, kids items, shoes? Is it an high frequency sales um, part for things like food, cooking services, essentials, or is it low frequency like luxury items or luxury accessories? All right. So you need to identify your audience. Don't forget this audience, what are their buying triggers? Now that things are slowed down, the purchasing power is reduced. Before now, what were their buying triggers? And how frequently did they buy from you? The third part of the framework is held, which is leakage, which is leakage. Leakage is what happens when a potential buyer showing up and a sale actually happening, right? Leakage is what happens between a potential buyer showing up and a sale actually happening. It is often invisible until you look for it, right? So most business owners, or many business owners, focus the energy on generating more attention, all right? Because in a time where demand is shrinking, the popular idea is to post more, get more attention, to get more visibility. While those things are good, but the idea is if the system is leaking at multiple points, more attention just means more people entering a broken pipeline. And a number of leakage zones, right? Visibility leak, trust leak, timing leak, price friction leak, competition leak. So for instance, if you look at visibility leak, is it that not enough new people are seeing your product? You are repeatedly posting to the same audience. Is it a trust leak where people see your products and ask questions but say, let me think about it? In other words, they don't trust what you're selling. Is it a price friction leak? In other words, buyers say your prices are just too high or ask for discount repeatedly. Is it a retention leak? Is it a competition leak because buyers are finding cheaper or more convenient alternatives and going elsewhere? Right. So you need to identify those leakages. Don't forget the situation first, the audience, their buying triggers, their buying cycles. Where are you? What's causing leakages in your pipeline, your sales pipeline? The next thing you can look at is the key part, which is engagement. Many business owners think they have an engagement problem when people are not responding to their post. But usually the problem is not engagement. It is that the content is not designed to move people from one stage to the another, right? Sales happen in 3 stages generally, and each one requires a different kind of content and action. But the majority of solopreneurs or small business owners or micro business owners almost entirely focus on stage one, which is awareness, and they neglect the other part, which includes activation and conversion. And I have an article that I wrote on my website, and I'll include the link in the description for you to read on understanding the kind of content that you should create for your business. All right. So let's get back to engagement. What you need to do is to review your engagement process. What kind of content are you sharing? Are you sharing story-based content? Are you explaining why this product matters for a specific moment? Are you sharing testimonials? Are you leveraging urgency and scarcity? Are you using use cases? All right. What you're trying to do here is trying to ensure stickiness with the audience that you currently have. What's your reactivation process? People who had at one time or the other bought from you, or people who had made inquiries, how do you get back to them? The S part of the framework, the S.A.L.E.S, is a sales reject system, which is what do you do now, having identified the situation, the audience, having identified the leakages and the engagement. Here you want to now rejig your system. A few things I'll propose is a sales rejig system is not about working more. It's about working differently. It's about changing the structure of how you sell so that demands finds you more easily and more reliably. You want to be the proactive seller, not the person who's always waiting for inquiries. All right. And so the first thing is in rejigging your system is to reposition your offer. Do not sell a product. Instead, sell the outcome. For instance, rather than just say, I sell children's shoes, you could rejig it to something like, I help parents dress their children confidently for schools and events without stress. Rather than just say, I'm a writer, you could rejig it to something like, I help you structure your thought and your process, because essentially what you do as a writer is not just that you put words together, you also include structure and ensure that it is assimilable and easy to comprehend. All right. And so the second thing you might want to think about is to bundle your product. And in bundling your product, you want to bundle it to increase transaction value. In a slow economy, people are reluctant to make multiple small purchases. So you have to create a well-designed bundle combining 2 or 3 related items at a slightly better value. All right. So it makes for the buyer, it makes one decision worth it. So for instance, female heels plus matching clutch bag, think of what you can bundle in the current service or product that you sell. Um, yeah, of course, it might be at a reduced price, but of course, still profitable to you. The third thing you want to think about is cluster selling. You're selling in clusters. And this is one of the most powerful ideas I believe I'm going to be sharing today. Instead of chasing one buyer at a time, why don't you position yourself in front of groups of people who already share a buying need? Right? For example, school parent communities and WhatsApp groups, church fellowships and women's groups, wedding WhatsApp groups, depending on what you sell. Just a group of people. So let me give you an example. An example, a company trying to sell boxers found out that the demand was slow. And so they went into a market and started selling to people in groups. There was this resonance effect. Once one person was asking the question, what are you people selling? Others began to also make inquiries as what are you selling? Eventually, because one person bought, every other person also wanted to buy. So you need that group interface where you're selling to more people at the same time. I mean, your WhatsApp status is important, but it's almost off. I mean, there's always that information saturation, and I'll share a link to that also in the video description on information saturation. Sometimes if you keep sharing some information to the same audience, they get saturated, and when they see it, it doesn't tick a box in them. They just look at it and do something. So you want to keep putting your product before new audiences. The fourth part is reactivate past buyers. You definitely have people who bought from you, and these are like the people that are the easiest to reach. A simple personal message to someone who has bought from you before will convert at a significantly higher rate than any cold audience. Now, what you must know is that new buyers do not always come from more social media posts. Sometimes you need to be physically or digitally be in a new place where ideal buyers already are. So you have to sit down to think about it. How can I reach new people? Whose influence can I leverage? Are they micro influencers? Are there groups I can access, to put my product before newer audiences? So here's the PAT framework now. Having done the first part, the PAT framework is about priority, action, transformation, and health. What this does for you is having looked at the situation, looked at the audience, looked at the leakages, looked at the engagement, and you're trying to rejig your system of sales, you are asking yourself, what is my single biggest constraint in improving sales? Is it a demand problem? And you have to identify it. Is it that there are not enough buyers? Is it a conversion problem? People see but they don't buy. Is it a retention problem? There's no repeat purchase. Is it a pricing problem? It feels too expensive. Is it a distribution problem? A wrong or narrow audience? All right. If it's a demand problem, identify one new audience channel and commit to it for a couple of weeks. If it's a conversion problem, audit your offer, check for clarity, and add a strong proof that shows that this actually works, that people are actually buying from you. Social proofs. If it's a retention problem, export all past buyer contacts and send them personal reactivation message a week. If it's a pricing problem, you don't have to reduce your price, and you might have to, but consider that increase urgency and perceived value through context and bundling. If it's a distribution problem, list 3 places where your ideal buyers already gather and penetrate them once a week, once in a month, all of that, depending on how you're going to do that. And there are a couple of actions that you can also take. I've put this together in a simple guide that you can follow. I'll share the link at the end of this video. The next thing, after determining what you should prioritize, what's the single biggest constraint that you need to prioritize based on where you are currently. I mean, you know what's not working in your business. I assume that you're keeping track of your records, you have your numbers. All right. Action. The idea is that even though the economy is slow, you can still make sales. Action. So what's execute the priority, and you're thinking of what's the first thing I need to do. Break it down into weeks or days, yeah, and pick on the first thing that will bring you the fast result, short-term result, and fast cash, and then continue to improve on the structure that you already have. continue to improve on the structure that you are trying to implement, because it's an iterative structure. You're trying to test what's going to work, and then keep auditing your sales journey. People identify their buying triggers. Am I aligning with their buying triggers? Is it a cycle-based business? Am I active around those cycles? Do I have the products in there when the people are asking for it? And what are the leakage issues that people have? People buy things from me and it's bad, or there's that trust leakage, there's that competition leakage. A lot of people are now selling the same thing, and maybe that gets you to begin to say, I need to take a second call, which is I might have to do another video on that. Okay, so by using the S.A.L.E.S P.A.T.H framework, what you get is clarity on your real problem. You're able to design a simple action plan and a repeatable sales system. Okay, so don't forget, let me give you a bit of example. So say you are a female shoe seller, you apply the S.A.L.E.S P.A.T.H system. You first of all look at the situation of your business. You classify your product. Is it a non-essential product? Is it a semi-essential product? Or is it a non-essential product? You identify whether it's a cycle-based business. Where's the demand compressing? You look at your audience, the ones who really buy. Are they working women with social commitment? Are they church-going women? And what are their buying triggers? Why do they buy? When do they buy? And identify your leakages. Is it visibility leak? In other words, you are only visible to a small group of people. Is it a conversion leak? Is it a retention leak because there's no repeat purchase from you? And then you go on and on, and then before you get to the priority in the PATH framework, where you now identify what is the major constraint for the sales diminishing in your business, and then you implement on that singular priority. You keep auditing and rejigging your system till you get to the right part that essentially ensures that you're safe. But the truth is, if you work on this, you will definitely improve the sales for your business. And so if you want to learn more about the S.A.L.E.S plus PATH framework, I've put everything together in a workbook that you can find on the link here, bit.ly/salespatworkbook.com. Go ahead and download the workbook. It allows you to, in there I share some more examples, give a bit more context to the thoughts here that helps you to practice. And so what you have to do is to sit with the workbook, answer every question there, and use it to discern, use it to analyze your sales pipeline, use it to analyze the challenges you're facing concerning your sales as a solopreneur or micro business in Nigeria, and then begin to fix your sales from the ideas that you are able to generate using the workbook. What I guarantee is that if you put in the work, you will get a result. Right? It's not a quick fix system, but it's a system that helps you to not just throw in the towel because demand is compressing. What you want to do is to swim against the tide of the compressing system and leverage the resources within your control. The audience that you already have, then find their buying triggers, exposing yourself to better people, and then keep tightening, optimizing your sales system or sales engine, as the case may be. Yeah, if you found this video very exciting, I want to ask you that you subscribe and invite somebody, share this video with somebody, let them watch, because we all need to make more sales in the current economy. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next video. By the way, don't forget, I promise to share certain links in the description for the video. Just go to the description. You will also find a link for the workbook and the links to the content I promise to share, particularly the content on audience saturation, information saturation, and the article on the kind of content to share, understanding what content is useful, how to share that kind of content for your business as a solopreneur or as a small business owner. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.